I am going to get started. Share my screen here. All right, great. Okay, does everybody see my screen? Of course, you're muted now. I guess one person could unmute themselves and say, tell me if you see the screen or not.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Fabulous. All right. So welcome, everybody. My name is Raina Franco. I am the registered dietitian nutritionist for Ogilvy. And I'm very excited to do this presentation, Easy One Pot Meals. Right now, I was actually planning on doing this at the office before all this happened. And this happens to be just absolutely appropriate for remote working because I don't know about you folks, but I'm cooking a lot more now that I'm home every single day. And not that I have more time, I just don't have the option to go out, or I don't necessarily want to order in either. So I have upped my game for cooking more and trying to find easy recipes that don't require a lot of ingredients, that don't have too many steps. I'm not a fancy cook. So what you're going to see here is, you will see an easy recipe that didn't require too many steps or many ingredients. And also you're going to get, at the end of all this, a whole set of recipes that are just for one pot or one pan. So let's get started. All right, so I wanted to start with how to create a healthy meal, because although I'm going to give you some recipes, quite often we want to know what constitutes a healthy recipe or a healthy meal. Or sometimes we don't even use recipes, but we'll just like throw things together to make a healthy meal. And I know for myself, that's a lot of what I'm doing is, well, what do I have in the refrigerator? What do I have in the pantry? What can I make? What can I use to have something that's healthy, nutritious, and tasty? So I know many of us have seen this healthy plate where a half or a quarter is vegetables, you have a little bit of fruit, a quarter is whole grains, and a quarter is a healthy protein. So getting into a little more details about that plate, why do we want half our plate to be vegetables and fruits? Well, that's because that's where we're going to find those immune boosting nutrients. And that's something we're looking for right now. We just want to make sure we stay healthy. So we're looking for a lot of different colors of fruits and vegetables. So each color has a different set of phytonutrients. Phyto means plant. So those are your nutrients for plants. So every day, every meal, just make it really colorful. Throw some berries in at breakfast time. Lunchtime, have some salad with leafy greens. At dinner, have some cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, tomatoes, peppers, you name it. It's lots of colors. A quarter of your plate's going to be whole grains or starchy vegetables. And don't be afraid of carbohydrates. Those carbs are your fuel, so they keep you going. You need them. They have lots of fiber. The fiber also keeps you going, so that's really very important. And a quarter of your plate is protein. So aim for healthy proteins, particularly plant-based proteins, and avoid processed meats like bacon and sausage. Now, quite often, our plate doesn't look like that perfect plate like this. Quite often it's a mishmash of lots of food. So how do you decide whether you're creating a healthy plate? So we have to be a little creative. Use our eyes, visually look at that plate. What do we see here? I ask myself, do you see more vegetables than starch? Well, no. If I look at this particular plate, I see a lot of starch. I'd say half this plate is starch, and maybe less than a quarter is vegetables. And then I ask, do I see about equal amounts of protein and starch? Not really. Again, I see a lot of starch and just drops or driblets of, I can't even tell what that is. It might be some kind of meat. So that is, not terribly a healthy plate. What I would do differently here is I would start thinking about quantities. So this is our quantities of how much you might want to be adding to your bowl or your plate. So you have a base of a whole food. So that's about a half to 1 cup cooked. And here we are talking about our starches. So that's whole grains, brown rice, oats, corn, potatoes, and again, about a half cup to 1 cup cooked. Now, why do we have a range? We have a range because a bigger person is going to need more food than a smaller person. So a person who weighs, let's say, 180 pounds is going to go more towards that 1 cup cooked range, and a person who weighs 120 pounds will go more towards the half cup cooked range. And then if you're trying to gain weight, you'll want more food. If you're trying to lose weight, maybe less. If you're exercising a lot, maybe more. If you're sedentary, less. So again, it's the big picture. It's not just 1 cup fits all. It's, it's going to vary. But when it comes to vegetables, you can have as many as you like. And again, lots of color. And then you want to select a protein. I listed here 1 to 2 handfuls. For each type of protein, it's really a little bit, it varies. It's not necessarily a handful. For example, for animal proteins like chicken and fish and meat, we use, say, a deck of cards. 1 to 2 deck of cards is a serving size. For tofu, it could be a cup, could be a serving size. But I also imagine that to be maybe 1 to 2 handfuls. So again, for everybody, that's going to be a little bit different. And then we could top it with a little bit of fruit. And then if you like, it's optional, add a healthy fat. And the quantity is about a tablespoon or 1 ounce. Could be some sort of healthy seed or nuts or olive oil or avocado, you name it. So this is how we make a healthy bowl or a plate that does not necessarily fit into your plate where half of it's vegetables, a quarter is protein, a quarter is starch. And this is very useful when you go out to eat or ordering in or cooking at home. So now we are going to talk about our recipe of the day, an Instant Pot red curry vegetable recipe. So first of all, an Instant Pot. I know many of you probably don't even have an Instant Pot. Up until about a month ago, I didn't have one either. It wasn't until I was shamed into getting one. It's a silly story, but my son's girlfriend came in to cook dinner. She's from China, and she wanted to cook some rice along with the food, and said, Raina, where's the Instant Pot? I'm like, Instant Pot? What Instant Pot? And she shamed me into getting an Instant Pot. She said it was so easy. Easy to cook vegetables and rice and grains and soups and stews and everything. I'm still learning how to use it and perfect it, but it's true. Some of the recipes I've made are absolutely outstanding with not too many ingredients, and it cooks really fast, and you only clean 1 pot. So that's one thing about this recipe. You don't need an Instant Pot to do this recipe. You could do it in a crock pot. Crock pot is something else I do not have. If I didn't have the Instant Pot, I would just use a regular soup pot, because that's basically all I have. That's how I would do this particular recipe. I would cook it in a soup pot. Another thing is I like spicy. So you could dial the spice up or down with this recipe. And then lastly, I was hoping to do this by video. Well, I'm not very good at video, and I realized the best thing to do would be take pictures. Better at taking pictures than doing video, and that way if there was a mistake, you wouldn't see it. So let's get on with the recipe. Now, another thing to note is when I purchased these the food for this recipe, it was done, when the supermarkets, and actually during this time too, were running out of a lot of foods. So this also goes to show that, you know, you could change things up a bit. The first example is it calls for 1 small sweet onion. Well, there were no small onions around. All I had to get was 1 big onion, which is a good thing because I love onion. So I got the onion, I used the entire thing. The next one is cauliflower. So I got this big cauliflower and I used about half of it for this recipe. The other one was, or is, cubed sweet potato. I lucked out. I ordered this from Fresh Direct and they actually had cubed sweet potato. So I saved a step right there. The recipe calls for red lentils. I looked all over the place for red lentils. I couldn't find them. So I just got regular lentils. I got a can of coconut milk. I got the diced tomatoes with juice. This one has spicy jalapeno in it because, again, I like spice. Half cup of water and spinach. So again, I got that, you know, prepackaged spinach. You can use spinach or kale for this recipe. So I have all these ingredients. And the very first step is you add all those ingredients, the onion, cauliflower, sweet potato, lentils, water, coconut milk, and diced potatoes to the pot. Just add everything in there and you do not stir. Isn't that crazy? I never really thought that you would do a recipe and not stir, but yep, the recipe said don't stir, so I didn't stir. Next step, you make a sauce. So the sauce is with red curry paste, water, garlic, ginger, soy sauce, and turmeric. So what I like to just say about this is turmeric, ginger, and garlic are full of incredible immunity boosting nutrients. So cook with them. And that's a nice thing about this particular dish is it has the vegetables, it has the garlic, the turmeric, and the ginger. It's a super healthy recipe to boost your immunity. Anyway, so you make the sauce, and to do that, you just put it in a bowl. So I have to say I had to wash a bowl here. A separate bowl, I mixed the curry paste, the water, ginger, garlic, soy sauce, and turmeric. And then I just poured it on top of the vegetables. And again, do not stir. Isn't that crazy? Again, I love that.
Reason why you don't stir it?
Yep, don't stir. And here's the Instant Pot. So you just close the lid to the pot. You set the time to 5 minutes. You put it on high pressure. And for those of you who use the Instant Pot, you know you have to wait a little while for the pot to come to pressure. And then once it gets to pressure, then you have 5 minutes. And then once the 5 minutes is complete, then you turn the steam release knob to quick release, and you open up all the steam. You wait till the pin in the lid drops down, and then you can open the lid, and now you can finally stir it and taste it. So I'm not done yet. So now you have this, you have the base of the dish, and it's kind of a little watery. Tastes good, but it's not finished yet. So now I add in my kale or spinach. In my case, I added in the spinach. So I add it in, and I'm stirring the spinach in. And we let it sit in the pot, and the kale or spinach is going to wilt. And at the same time, the curry is going to thicken. So you wait a bit, it cools down just a little bit, you know, so it's not steaming hot. For you people who haven't used the Instant Pot, the food gets super duper hot. It gets really, really hot. I don't like my food to be super hot. So, you know, I let it cool down, and it really does thicken. And then what you could do next is you have your meal. So you could, if you want, you could squeeze some fresh lemon juice on it. You could add some cilantro leaves. There was no limes. There were no limes at the supermarket, and there were certainly no cilantro leaves. So I'll skip that part. And if you want, you can serve it over rice or potatoes. I ate it all by itself because it has the sweet potatoes in it, so that was my starch. But if you want more, you can add the rice or potatoes. My family said they would have liked to have rice with it, so that probably would have been a nice touch. So that is the dish. It's super easy, super quick, and you have a super easy meal. Like I said, all I had to do is wash the Instant Pot. I had to just wash that bowl I used to make the sauce. And then I stirred the Instant Pot with a ladle. I served the food with the ladle. Not much cleaning. So I am going to, let's see, how do I do this? Get to the screen so I could see questions. There we go, chat. All right, so if you like, any questions? You can unmute yourself too if you have any questions. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I heard somebody there.
Yeah, can you go back to the recipe so I can screenshot it so I can, or are you sending this to us?
I'm sending this to everybody along with, I have the actual recipe in the recipe handout.
So Raina, I came in late. Did you show just one recipe?
Oh, yeah, so who am I talking to?
Kirsten.
Hi there. So let's go back. So the recipe is actually, I'm going to send this PowerPoint. So it's going to show everything. It's this Instant Pot recipe. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it, but I was just asking, you only showed one recipe though.
Right, yeah, I only did one recipe.
Okay.
Yep. Only one.
That's all I wanted.
So yeah, this is great. In this recipe, our protein is the lentils. You do get some protein from the vegetables and the potatoes, but the lentils are your source of protein. We have the spinach, or you can use kale, that's your leafy green. Your cruciferous vegetables, your cauliflower. So this, again, it's really tasty. If you want to make it spicier, you could add some jalapeno to it, or more turmeric or cumin. There's so many different things you could do with this recipe to make it spicier. Any other questions? Any questions about anything?
No.
Actually,
No,
the coconut milk.
Yeah.
I mean, I never had that. I mean, how is that in nutrients? And
I used the light coconut milk. So there's some saturated fat in it. That's why I chose light coconut milk, because it's lower in saturated fat, which is your bad fat. It doesn't really, coconut milk itself is not a nutrient dense food. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Well, I just want everybody to know that I'm working remotely, and I'm seeing people for nutrition through telehealth, through telephone calls. So if you do want to meet with me by phone, just send me an email. Okay, here we go. And we could have a little session by phone. I've been doing that with a whole bunch of people already, and it's going very well. I'm going to be doing another webinar, or probably in a few weeks, on how to maintain and not gain weight during this time period. So keep your eyes open for that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And also, keep your eyes open. I'm going to be sending this out to everybody. So you'll get the slides, the recipes, the recording, and what else? And also, whoever did not attend, if you speak to anybody who wants to attend, if they signed up already, I'm going to be sending it out to them also. If there's anybody you know who wants to get this who did not sign up, just tell me and they'll get this information too. I could send it out to whoever needs it. All right. So I want to thank everybody for being on the call. I want everybody to stay healthy and stay safe and eat.
Oh, wait, Raina.
Sure.
Hey, guys. It's Francis. I miss you all. I just
Francis.
I just wanted to let everyone know before we signed off that the fitness center, including Raina, we're working really hard to give you guys some virtual services. So I expect by Monday you guys will be getting a ton of things from us. So just be on the lookout via email from the fitness center, from Raina. We'll give out a bunch of videos. We'll have live classes, all that jazz. We're just kind of making sure everything's on the up and up before we release these things, because this is kind of uncharted territory. So just wanted to thank everyone for being so patient and know that we are thinking of you and we're going to start working with you guys soon.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
That
you.
sounds so great. Thank you, Francis and Raina, for really trying to keep this up while we're, kind of just in hiatus. So we really appreciate it. It's really kind of motivating, at least me.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Well, great. Well, again, thanks everybody, and you know where to find me. And I really hope to hear from everybody sometime, because I like the communication, and I like to help everybody out and make sure everybody's eating well and feels good and stays healthy. So,
Well,
all right. Have a good day, everyone.
bye guys.
All right.
Bye.
thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.